Well, good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. Um, Folks, there are moments when a country doesn't just drift off course. It actively argues with reality. I mean, just blows your mind. Not over complex policy issues, not over competing priorities, but over things that were once so obvious that they didn't require explanation. And we are living in one of those moments right now. Two stories dominate the background noise of our national conversation this week. One, on the surface, seems, on the surface, they seem unrelated. Girls' sports and the political future of Tim Walz. Girls' sports and the political future of Tim Walz. But beneath the headlines, they are bound together by the same sickness. An elite class that has decided that facts, well, they're optional. Somehow power is therapeutic and dissent is dangerous. Let's start with the one that should be the easiest, girls' sports. The fact that we're even debating this, and we're debating this in the Supreme Court this week, debating whether boys should be allowed to compete in girls' sports, is not a sign of moral progress. It's a sign of civilizational confusion and decline. We created girls' sports for a reason, not because the girls needed charity, but because they deserved fairness and opportunity. Because biology matters. Because strength, speed, bone density, lung capacity, and reaction time are not social constructs. This wasn't controversial. This wasn't partisan. It wasn't mean. Well, until somebody made it so. Today, we are told that even acknowledging physical reality is somehow exclusionary. That protecting girls is somehow hateful. The fairness must be sacrificed on the altar of adult ideology. And the result is as predictable as it is cruel. Girls lose scholarships, records, championships, and sometimes even safety. Also, institutions can signal virtue to activists who will never bear the cost. That's the key point no one in authority wants to say out loud. Girls are paying the price for somebody else's theory. This isn't compassion. Compassion does not require victims. Compassion does not erase one group to validate another. Compassion doesn't demand that a teenage girl smile politely while her hard work is taken away. And yet, school boards, athletic associations, and politicians nod along, pretending that this is progress while parents are told to be quiet. To be quiet for the greater good. Now, let's pull back a little bit. Why does something so obvious become so hard to defend? Well, because the same mindset that tells us boys belong in girls' sports is the same as a mindset that believes power should not be questioned, only justified. Which brings us to your boy, Tim Walz. Think about this. For a brief, unsettling moment, this man could have been a heartbeat away from the presidency of the United States. I'm gonna let you sit with that for a second. Tim Walz might have been a heartbeat away from the presidency of this country. Go ahead and marinate in that for a minute. And not as a partisan scare tactic, but as a sober assessment of where we are right now. Waltz is not some cartoon villain. That's what makes him dangerous. He represents a new class of American leader, confident in his moral authority, comfortable using state power, and deeply dismissive of the ordinary citizens who dare question him. We've seen the videos of during COVID where this worldview was in full bloom. Executive orders without end dates, emergency powers without accountability, enforcement without humility. We've seen where the National Guard or someone is going through that street and chasing people into their homes during COVID. Remember? The message was clear. We know better. You comply. And compliance, we were told, was the price of being a good person. Sound familiar? It's the same logic used to justify dismantling girls' sports. Trust the experts, trust the institution, sit down, don't ask questions. If you resist, it's not because you're right, it's because you're morally deficient. Riley Gaines mentioned that they were told that if they had a problem with the dude that was on their swim team, they had a problem. I mean, if those girls had a problem, then they could seek counseling. So this dude is getting dressed with us in the locker room and swimming on this swim team. And we know he's a dude because he swam on the dude swim team last year. Now he's on this swim team. He's a fully intact male. And that if I'm a woman and have a problem with that, then I can seek counseling. In what world? This is how a nation drifts from self-government to managed obedience. Now, Waltz didn't invent this mindset, but he does embody it. A smiling Midwestern delivery, masking a governing philosophy that sees citizens as problems that are to be managed rather than adults to be persuaded. He's the kind of leader who believes that restraint is weakness and certainty is a virtue. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Men like Waltz don't disappear when elections end. They just reposition. They rebrand and they wait. Because the system rewards them. The same institutions that silence parents at school board meetings elevate governors who silence dissent during emergencies. The same media that downplays girls losing athletic opportunities cheers leaders who expand executive power, for our own good. And these aren't separate failures. These are symptoms of the same disease. A country that no longer believes reality is a limit on power. When a society decides feelings outright, facts, that force inevitably follows, okay? When persuasion fails, coercion steps in. We couldn't convince you, so we're going to make you. When truth becomes optional, authorities become absolute. And that's the through line from the track meet to the governor's mansion, from the track meet to the governor's mansion. Here's the most sobering part. Most Americans know it's wrong. The polling shows overwhelming opposition to boys competing in girls' sports across party lines, across demographics. Parents know it. The athletes know it. Even many officials know it privately, but public courage is in short supply, except around here. because speaking plainly now carries risk. And that's the real crisis. Not that we disagree, but too many people in power are afraid to say what everybody else already knows. A healthy country doesn't punish truth tellers, it elevates them. A healthy country doesn't teach girls that fairness is negotiable. It teaches them their effort matters. A healthy country doesn't flirt with authoritarian instincts and then somehow call it compassion. My friends, we are better than this, but only if we decide to be. Because history shows us how these moments end. Societies that refuse to correct small lies eventually face large consequences. And the longer we pretend that it's normal, the harder it becomes to reverse. Because in this argument, you'll hear, how many boys are actually trying to participate in girls' sports? The truth is, if it's one, it's a problem. Well, this thing barely happens. Well, until it does. And once the door is opened, once that small lie hasn't been corrected, here comes the larger consequences. Girls' sports are not a fringe issue. It's a test. It's a trial. Tim Walz was not an anomaly. He's a warning. The question now is whether we've learned anything or whether we'll keep arguing with reality until reality collects its due. Because it always does. My name is Willie Lawson. Welcome to the Morning Report. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody. And for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye bye now.